The preparations were frantic. Clothes, jewelry, fur cloaks, and precious books were hastily tossed into large chests. Gytha couldn't allow the invaders to take even one of the books gifted to her by her father, King Harold II of England. Now, with their beloved sovereign having lost his life at the Battle of Hastings, a deadly threat loomed over all his children. There was no time to waste. She was born into love and prosperity. Her father, the wealthiest man in the British Isles, Harold, son of Godwin, had married the most beautiful woman of his time, Edith Swanneck, in a Danish ceremony. By the way, you can learn more about her in one of my videos. This brilliant couple, who adored each other, had 6 children, and although the exact date of Gytha's birth has been lost to time, as the 4th child of Harold and Edith, she likely came into the world no later than the year 1055. The family's happiness could have lasted for a long time, but Harold inherited the crown and fell to the warriors of William the Conqueror in the same year. Just like that, a noble and affluent family was reduced to nothing, and the heirs of the fallen sovereign could no longer guarantee their safety. Edith Swanneck was crushed by grief. Did she perish? Did she enter a convent? It remains unknown. But when her children and mother-in-law hurriedly gathered their belongings for the journey, the widow was certainly not present. She is not mentioned in later chronicles either. The role of the head of the family fell to Gytha's grandmother, Harold's mother. It was she who oversaw their departure to Exeter, and when they could be pursued there as well, they were sent to Flat Home Island in the Bristol Channel. The family had to split up. The women stayed on the island for a time, while Harold's sons set off for Ireland in an attempt to restore their family's power and influence. Unfortunately, none of them succeeded. By the year 1069, all of Harold II's household had finally left England in search of refuge in Flanders. The mother of the fallen king was already too old for further travels. She found sanctuary in the Abbey of St Omer. The others sought the protection of the Count of Flanders, with whom they had a distant kinship. However, there was little altruism involved. Gytha paid for the support with the treasures she possessed. Her aunt sent a unique psalter in Old English, along with the cloak of St. Brigid, to the Cathedral of St. Donatian. Godwin and Edmund, Gytha's brothers, decided to try their luck one more time. They moved from Flanders to Denmark, where their cousin Sweyn ruled. Gytha went with them. It's hard to say what role she was meant to play. The former princess was not a desirable match for the children of King Sweyn Estridsson. Or perhaps Gytha was handling the diplomatic side of things. She was well-educated and spoke several languages. But Sweyn was reluctant to get involved in a war. Not long before the arrival of his relatives, he had attempted to invade England and had failed. He had neither the strength, resources, nor desire for new conflicts. However, he did take care of the fate of the unendowed Gytha. Most likely, it was he who arranged for Harold II's daughter to be betrothed to the Russian prince Vladimir Monomakh. The Danes prepared a dowry for Gytha. The marriage took place, and the English princess found herself in Smolensk, where Vladimir ruled at the time. Why would a Russian prince need a hunted-down princess? Surprisingly, there were political motives at play. Being a relative of the Danish kings, she offered at least a slim hope of support from Copenhagen if the neighboring Poles decided to raid Russia again. The romantic version is that Gytha was incredibly beautiful. The daughter of Edith Swanneck inherited all the best traits from her mother. However, it's unlikely that Vladimir Monomakh saw his bride before the wedding. Thus, the princess's beauty became just a pleasant bonus to a successfully arranged alliance. In the year 1076, Gytha gave birth to a son named Mstislav. However, in Western chronicles, he is mentioned solely as Harold. This second name, which his mother used, was a tribute to the fallen sovereign. Vladimir was engaged in the same pursuits as most European rulers of his time. He was perpetually at war. He first managed to take the Principality of Chernigov, but was later ousted and moved to rule in Pereyaslav. Gytha followed him everywhere. She bore him many sons and at least 3 daughters. Was this union a happy one? Probably, yes. Vladimir was always warm towards his family, and even in his famous advice, he stated, "Love your wives." He certainly surrounded his wife with a luxury befitting her status. The prince was considered a very wealthy man. However, Gytha did not see his greatest achievement. She passed away in the year 1107, while Vladimir became the Grand Prince of Kiev 6 years later. Interestingly, Gytha and Vladimir's eldest son, the very Mstislav Harold, married one of his daughters to Knut Lavard, the first Duke of Schleswig. Furthermore, Gytha's grandson became the King of Denmark. He ascended the throne under the Russian name Vladimir. Today's rulers of the Danish kingdom, as well as Queen Elizabeth II of England, are direct descendants of Gytha. The lineage of Harold II eventually reclaimed the throne, but that is a completely different story. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like, and thank you for your comments.